The arrival of Commander Kell. In the vast expanse of space, Commander Kell of the Kesek Empire stared out at Earth from his ship, the Vanguard. His mission was clear: observe humanity's military might, assess their capabilities, and report back to his superiors. The Kesek Empire had long viewed Earth with a mix of curiosity and disdain, considering its inhabitants primitive compared to their advanced civilization. Yet rumors of humanity's resilience in battle had piqued their interest. As the Vanguard descended through Earth's atmosphere, Kel felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He had heard tales of humanity's fierce spirit, but had yet to witness it firsthand. The planet below was vibrant, teeming with life, a stark contrast to the cold, metallic landscapes of his home world. Once landed, he was greeted by Major Harlow, a tall figure with a confident demeanor. "Welcome to Earth, Commander," Harlow said with a smile that seemed genuine. "I'm excited to show you what we're capable of." Kel nodded politely, but remained guarded. "I hope your military might lives up to its reputation," he replied coolly. First impressions. As they made their way through a bustling military base, Kel observed humans in various states of readiness, some preparing equipment, others engaged in animated discussions about strategy. He noted their camaraderie. It was different from the rigid hierarchy he was accustomed to among his own people. "Here at Fort Valor, we pride ourselves on our training programs," Harlow explained as they walked past rows of armored vehicles. "Our soldiers undergo rigorous preparation for any conflict." Kel raised an eyebrow at Harlow's enthusiasm, but remained skeptical. "Preparation is one thing, execution is another." "True," Harlow conceded, "but execution comes from preparation. Let me show you our training facilities." Into the heart of training, they arrived at a sprawling training ground where cadets were engaged in various exercises. Some were running obstacle courses, while others practiced marksmanship on firing ranges. Kel watched intently as they navigated challenges that tested not only their physical abilities, but also their mental fortitude. "What are they doing?" he asked, pointing toward a group huddled around makeshift shelters. "Survival training," Harlow replied nonchalantly. "They have to spend nights in the wilderness with minimal supplies." Kel's eyes widened in disbelief. "You send them into the wild with just knives? That seems reckless." Harlow chuckled lightly. "It teaches them adaptability. Humans thrive under pressure. We embrace adversity rather than shy away from it." Kel felt a twinge of discomfort at this philosophy. In his culture, technology was paramount. Soldiers relied on advanced equipment rather than primitive survival tactics. He couldn't fathom how humans could endure such hardships willingly. A lesson in resilience. As they continued observing, Harlow pointed out a cadet digging into the ground with bare hands. "See that? He's making a fire pit. You can't survive without warmth." Kel glanced at another cadet who appeared drenched in cold yet pressed on with determination etched on his face. There was something undeniably alive about these humans. They wore their struggles like badges of honor. "How do they endure this?" Kel asked, curiosity creeping into his voice despite himself. Harlow's grin widened. "They embrace it. Humans don't just survive adversity. We thrive on it." The commander rubbed his temples as he processed this information. If this was how humans trained, if they found strength in suffering, what were they capable of in war? A growing dread. The tour continued as Major Harlow led him deeper into the academy, each stop revealing more about human tenacity and spirit. They arrived at an expansive field lined with high fences and peculiar contraptions that hummed ominously. "What is this place?" Kel asked warily. "This is our live-fire training range," Harlow replied proudly. "We test accuracy under pressure here." Kel glanced around nervously. cadets handled weapons with precision that spoke volumes about their proficiency. In contrast to cassette practices, where live fire exercises were reserved for elite units under controlled conditions, these humans seemed reckless yet focused, a reminder that they approached warfare differently. An unsettling realization. As explosions echoed across the field, Cal felt an unsettling realization take root within him. These humans were not just warriors. They were something more formidable, a force shaped by hardship and relentless training. What do you think? Harlow asked, noticing Cal's silence. I find your methods unconventional, Cal admitted cautiously. Harlow laughed heartily. Unconventional is our specialty. We believe that true strength comes from facing challenges head-on. Cal swallowed hard as he contemplated this new perspective on warfare, a philosophy that valued resilience over technology alone. And he couldn't shake off the feeling that he was witnessing something profound. As they prepared to leave the training grounds, Commander Cal felt an odd mixture of admiration and dread settle within him. If this was merely a glimpse into humanity's military might, if these beings could endure such trials, what would happen when they faced true adversity? This part sets up an engaging introduction to Commander Cal's journey while exploring themes of resilience and adaptability within humanity's military culture, preparing for further developments in subsequent parts. A new perspective. As Commander Cal continued his tour of Earth's military facilities, he found himself grappling with a growing sense of unease. Major Harlow had been enthusiastic about showcasing humanity's capabilities, but Cal struggled to reconcile what he saw with his preconceived notions of warfare. The humans' approach was raw and visceral, a stark contrast to the Kesek Empire's reliance on technology and strategy. Next, I'll show you our training exercises, Harlow announced, his eyes gleaming with excitement. You're going to love this one. Cal's skepticism deepened. I doubt that very much, he muttered under his breath. They arrived at a training ground where cadets were engaged in various drills. The atmosphere was charged with energy as young soldiers practiced hand-to-hand combat, navigation through obstacle courses, and teamwork exercises. Cal observed the intensity in their eyes, a fierce determination that he hadn't anticipated. What are they doing? He asked, unable to hide his curiosity. Building camaraderie and resilience, Harlow replied, gesturing toward a group of cadets wrestling on the ground. These exercises teach them to rely on each other in high-stress situations. Embracing adversity. As they moved deeper into the training area, Cal noticed a group of cadets preparing for a survival exercise. They were equipped with only basic tools, knives and ropes, and seemed unfazed by the challenge ahead. What is this? Cal asked, incredulous. You send them into the wild with just knives. Harlow nodded proudly. That's right. They have to build shelters and find food. It teaches them to adapt to their environment. Cal took a step back, appalled by the apparent recklessness of it all. In the Kesek Empire, soldiers relied on advanced technology for survival. They would never be sent into such an environment without proper equipment. Best teacher there is, Harlow continued nonchalantly. Nature forces them to think creatively. Cal struggled to understand this philosophy. The idea that hardship could be beneficial was foreign to him. In his culture, adversity was something to be avoided at all costs. It was a sign of weakness if one couldn't rely on technology. A glimpse of human strength. As they approached the survival training area, Cal watched as cadets worked together to construct makeshift shelters from branches and leaves. One cadet dug into the ground with bare hands, making a fire pit. See that? Harlow pointed out. He's making a fire pit. Can't survive without warmth. Cal glanced at Vec, his aide, who was scribbling notes furiously. His antennae twitched nervously, reflecting the stress of their observations. This wasn't what they had expected. They had heard humans were formidable warriors, but now it was glaringly evident why. These beings honed themselves in extreme conditions and wore their struggles as badges of honor. It wasn't just their technology or tactics. It was their will to endure the unthinkable that set them apart. How do they endure this? Kel asked again, his voice fairly masking his growing concern. Harlow grinned widely. Simple. They embrace it. Humans don't just survive adversity. We thrive on it. Kel swallowed hard as he looked over the cadets once more, drenched, cold, hungry, and yet somehow undeniably alive. This tour was far from over, and already he felt a creeping sense of dread about what lay ahead. The reality of training. As they moved on from the survival training area, Major Harlow led him toward another section of the academy. A large open field lined with high fences and strange-looking contraptions that hummed ominously in the background. What exactly is this place? Kel asked warily. This, Harlow said proudly, is our live-fire training range. It's where we test accuracy under pressure. Kel glanced around nervously. Cadets handled weapons with precision that spoke volumes about their proficiency. In contrast to cassette practices, where live-fire exercises were reserved for elite units under controlled parameters to ensure maximum safety, these humans seemed reckless yet focused, a reminder of how differently these Deathworlders approach warfare. A different kind of fearlessness. As explosions echoed across the field, Cal felt an unsettling realization take root within him. These humans were not just warriors. They were something more formidable, a force shaped by hardship and relentless training. What do you think? Harlow asked, noticing Kel's silence. I find your methods unconventional, Kel admitted cautiously. Harlow laughed heartily. Unconventional is our specialty. We believe that true strength comes from facing challenges head-on. Kel rubbed his temples as he processed this information. If this was how humans trained, if they'd found strength in suffering, what were they capable of in war? Witnessing human ingenuity. As they continued observing the live fire drills, Kel watched cadets engage in mock battles against one another while others provided cover fire from behind barricades. The level of coordination among them was impressive. They communicated seamlessly through gestures and shouts amidst the chaos. Look at them move, Harlow exclaimed as he pointed toward a group executing a flanking maneuver against an imaginary enemy position. They anticipate each other's actions. Kel nodded slowly, but remained skeptical about how effective this would be in actual combat scenarios against an organized foe like the Zorgan. What happens when they face real enemies? He asked cautiously. Harlow turned serious for a moment before responding. That's why we train like this, so when the time comes, they're prepared for anything. A growing respect. As the drills continued and explosions echoed around them, Commander Cal felt a shift within himself. He began to appreciate not only the physical prowess displayed by these humans, but also their mental fortitude, their willingness to embrace fear and uncertainty head-on. Your soldiers are incredibly brave, he admitted reluctantly as they watched a particularly intense drill unfold before them. Harlow smiled knowingly, but didn't respond immediately. Instead, he allowed Cal to absorb what he had witnessed so far. The day wore on as they moved from one training exercise to another, each more intense than the last, and with each passing moment, Commander Cal found himself grappling with an unsettling truth. Humanity's military might was not merely rooted in technology or tactics. It stemmed from an indomitable spirit forged through adversity. Preparing for what lies ahead. As night began to fall over Fort Valor, the base illuminated by artificial lights, casting long shadows across the fields, Cal felt an odd mixture of admiration and dread settle within him. If this was how humans trained, if these beings could endure such trials, what would happen when they faced true adversity? Tomorrow we'll witness live simulations, Harlow announced as they concluded their tour for the day. You'll see firsthand how our troops handle combat scenarios. Cal nodded silently, but couldn't shake off the feeling that tomorrow would bring even greater revelations about humanity's military capabilities, and perhaps even more unsettling truths about what lay ahead for both their civilizations. This part continues building upon Commander Kell's observations while delving into humanity's unique approach to military training and resilience, a theme that will evolve throughout subsequent sections. A new day at the Academy. The sun rose over Fort Valor, casting a warm glow across the sprawling military academy. Commander Kell stood at the edge of the training grounds, his mind still reeling from the previous day's revelations. The humans had shown him their survival training, a shocking display of resilience that left him questioning everything he thought he knew about warfare. Today, Major Harlow promised to show him more about humanity's military prowess, and Cal was both intrigued and apprehensive. "Are you ready for another day of discovery?" Harlow asked, his enthusiasm infectious. Cal nodded, though he felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach. "Lead the way, Major." As they walked through the academy, Cal observed cadets preparing for various drills. The energy was palpable. Laughter mixed with shouts of encouragement filled the air. It was a stark contrast to the rigid atmosphere of the Kesek military, where discipline reigned supreme and emotions were often suppressed. The training grounds. They arrived at a large open field where cadets were engaged in different exercises. Some were practicing marksmanship, while others were involved in hand-to-hand combat drills. Cal's eyes narrowed as he watched them spar, their movements fluid and precise. "What are they doing?" he asked, trying to mask his growing unease. "Training for combat," Harlow replied casually. "We believe in preparing our soldiers for every possible scenario." Cal observed a pair of cadets grappling on the ground, each trying to gain the upper hand. "This seems chaotic," he remarked. Harlow chuckled. "It may look chaotic, but it's all part of building instinct and adaptability. In real combat, things won't be orderly." Embracing chaos. As they moved deeper into the training area, Cal watched as a group of cadets tackled an obstacle course designed to test their physical limits. They climbed walls, crawled under nets, and navigated through mud pits, all while cheering each other on. "Why do they put themselves through such hardship?" Cal asked incredulously. "It builds character," Harlow explained. "They learn to push through pain and exhaustion. It teaches them that they can overcome any obstacle." Cal felt a wave of discomfort wash over him. In the Kesek Empire, soldiers trained with advanced technology and simulations. They would never willingly subject themselves to such grueling conditions. Yet here were these humans, embracing adversity as if it were a rite of passage. The philosophy behind training. As they continued to watch the cadets train, Harlow began explaining the philosophy behind their methods. "We believe that true strength comes from facing challenges head-on," he said earnestly. "Our soldiers need to know how to think on their feet and adapt quickly." Cal couldn't help but admire their tenacity, but remained skeptical about its effectiveness in real combat situations against an organized enemy like the Zorian. "Do you really think this will prepare them for an actual battle?" he asked cautiously. Harlow met his gaze with unwavering confidence. "Absolutely. When faced with danger, our soldiers will rely on their instincts and training rather than just technology." A different kind of strength. As they moved on to another section of the academy, Cal found himself grappling with conflicting emotions. He had always viewed strength as synonymous with technological superiority and strategic planning. But these humans were redefining what it meant to be strong. "Look at them." Harlow exclaimed as they watched a group of cadets strategizing around a map table. They're analyzing past battles and discussing tactics. Kel observed closely. The cadets were animatedly debating various approaches to hypothetical scenarios. Their passion was evident as they shared ideas and challenged one another's perspectives. They're not just following orders. They're thinking critically, Kel noted, surprised by this revelation. That's right, Harlow replied enthusiastically. We encourage them to question everything because that's how innovation happens. The reality check. As the day progressed, Kel witnessed more drills that pushed the cadets to their limits. Mock battles where they had to think quickly under pressure. He felt increasingly uneasy. Every exercise revealed another layer of human ingenuity that challenged his understanding of warfare. Why do you push them so hard? Kel asked during a break in the action. Harlow smiled knowingly. Because we want them to know what they're capable of when it matters most. In battle, there are no second chances. Kel nodded slowly, but couldn't shake off his discomfort. The idea that humans thrived under pressure was both fascinating and alarming. It made him reconsider everything he thought he understood about human nature. A moment of reflection. As twilight descended over Fort Valor, Commander Kel found himself reflecting on what he had witnessed throughout the day. The human's ability to adapt and overcome obstacles left him both impressed and apprehensive about their capabilities in warfare. Your soldiers are remarkable, he admitted finally as they walked back toward the command center. Harlow beamed with pride at this acknowledgement. Thank you. We work hard to ensure our troops are ready for anything. Kel pondered this statement as they entered the command center, filled with screens displaying live feeds from various training exercises. If humanity could harness such resilience and determination, what would happen when they faced true adversity? Preparing for tomorrow. As night fell over Fort Valor, the base illuminated by artificial lights casting long shadows across the fields, Kel felt an odd mixture of admiration and dread settle within him. Tomorrow would bring even greater challenges as Major Harlow prepared to showcase live fire drills, a demonstration that would undoubtedly push both human cadets and himself further than ever before. Little did he know that these experiences would challenge not only his perceptions, but also reshape his understanding of what it meant to be strong in times of conflict. A lesson that would soon prove invaluable as tensions escalated in the galaxy beyond Earth. This part continues building upon Commander Kel's observations while delving into humanity's unique approach to military training and resilience, a theme that will evolve throughout subsequent sections.